Well, hello there, and welcome to WTA Weekly. Always fun to do this. There's always good tennis to talk about, and I'm very pleased to be talking about it with the one and only Vanch Vermani. Vanch, how are you doing?
Doing great, Nick. I love doing this with you. So, yeah, a lot of cool stories this week.
Yeah, there's been a few, hasn't there? You would think a week after a slam, things might sort of dip a little bit, but actually, there's been some noteworthy stories. Um, I guess the top of which is Yelena Ostapenko is the Linz champion. I'm not sure. I think it might be an exaggeration to say she stormed to the title. She definitely stormed through the last couple of rounds.
Yeah.
But she's now won her second WTA 500 of the year. She's third in the race, and looking pretty dangerous right now.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually an impressive amount of consistency for her the last good 6 or 8 months or so. I mean, she also made a US Open quarterfinal. And then, you know, after that has, like you said, gotten off to a great start this year. Second 500 title already. Pretty much only Azarenka has been able to beat her this year. Just both her losses have come to Azarenka. But in this tournament, she was down match point against Clara Tauson in the first round, and also down 6-3, 4-1, something like that. And yeah, so that was a really kind of key match for her because she was not serving that well against that match. And Tauson is a heck of a player. Like she burst on the scene in like 2021, and I think she was the player who beat Emma Raducanu before Raducanu won the U.S. Open, like in the
Yeah.
125, like the week before that. And then after that, like later got her first ATP title, and kind of everyone thought she was gonna do some big things in 2022, but then she had a bit of a she had some injuries, like she had a back problem that pulled her out of Roland Garros, I remember, and then like never really got on since then. But it seems like she's like now back inside the top 100, probably gonna work her way back inside the top 50 if she stays healthy because she's such a good player, and she was crushing second serve returns the way Ostapenko does sometimes, and kind of giving Ostapenko a taste of her own medicine. And yeah, and Yelena looked in big trouble because Towson was serving for it at 5-3, had match point, and all of a sudden Ostapenko comes up with this really good, like forehand winner, and like then plays a couple of really bold points, gets back into it, and then they have this really good tiebreak as well, which Ostapenko manages to eke out like 8-6 or 9-7, and it's like ever since then she just never really looked back. Like against Alexandrova in the semis, and the round before that it was against Jody Burrage, and then today in the final she only dropped one serve once in those 26 service games, and in the first match she dropped serve 8 times. So yeah, it was one of those classic you get freed up after you save match points in the first round, and you see the ball
Just,
like a football later.
I think I feel like I'm asking the right person, albeit you might not have your giant laptop in front of you. Has Yelena Ostapenko won from match point down before? She must have done, but I don't know whether it's happened for a while.
Yeah, she's definitely done it before. I'd have to check like exactly when and where. Like I don't have that at the top of my mind right
I
now.
didn't think you would. But if anyone was going to, you were the most likely. But
Yeah, like
I,
she's always come back from like she's one of those players that always comes back from like a set and a breakdown. Sometimes a set and a double break, and yeah, I mean, because
which
her
is
score lines can be all funky a lot of the times.
yeah, because it's weird to think about that because given a player who's as streaky as Ostapenko, you would think that she wouldn't make comebacks that often.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of good points in your answer earlier, and I do want to talk about Clara Towson. I want to focus on Ostapenko for the minute. Because I was thinking about this going in, like, okay, she's won 2 500s, did well in Brisbane. I forgot that she lost to Azarenka, and I forgot that she lost to Azarenka again in Australian Open, because I was about to say to talk to you about, might she be kicking herself that the Australian Open was a missed opportunity, given the way that she was in the top half, which really, really opened up. But as you said, Azarenka has beaten her. Has been the only person to beat her in 2024 so far, which might be ominous for everyone else. What is it about the Azarenka matchup that she struggles with?
So against Azarenka, actually, both times Azarenka like outaced her by a lot. It was like 16-2 in the Brisbane match, and then like 10-2 again in the Australian Open match, and it's like Azarenka, like Ostapenko, doesn't really adjust her return position, and Azarenka always seems to find the spots whenever she serves against her, and it's like for some reason also like another thing could be when they're going toe to toe with each other from the baseline. Actually, Azarenka really likes that pace. She's able to feed off of it, and she's redirecting shots from her backhand, and she's getting Ostapenko moving, and then she's serving really well. So that really just helps her get leads where otherwise she'd normally get broken, because Azarenka doesn't really have like the biggest serve. That's like never really been a strength of her game. I remember Renee Stubbs telling this to someone on a podcast that like if Azarenka had a better serve, she'd probably have 4 or 5 slams right now. But against Ostapenko, she just seems to always. She also seems to have a really good read on where Ostapenko is going on her service games, and it's also a little bit psychological because like 4-0 is their head-to-head, and 2 of those matches were this year, and other ones have been really close. Like played at Indian Wells 3 years ago, and it was 7-5 in the third. The Brisbane match.
Would you say that because the other person I'm thinking of when you're saying sort of about Ostapenko's return position and not really adjusting is someone with a bigger serve, and that's Elena Rybakina. And again, I think the way Rybakina's serving, maybe she's not as good at redirecting as Azarenka, but that Rybakina's serve will kind of get through if you're not adjusting to deal with it. It's just that good. So I'm wondering if there's a sort of a similar situation there, because I think Ostapenko against Rybakina is very heavily in favor of Rybakina in that matchup.
Rybakina's won like their last 3, but also she's just really good at playing first strike tennis, even on the return against most players. And then she has like the best serve in women's tennis probably right now.
So essentially, to beat Elena Ostapenko, you need to serve really well and be able to live with her pace.
Yeah, and be able to live with her pace, be able to move her around, be able to force her to generate from like really low contact points, and just kind of wait out her patches of up and down momentum swings, because she will all of a sudden play 3 or 4 games where she just can't find the court. But in this tournament, never really happened after the first round. So it was impressive that she didn't have any dips whatsoever in the last 3 matches indoors.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Especially given the quality of opponents she was playing.
Alexandrova had her number, by the way. I was there in San Diego when they played each other, and Alexandrova was up 5-2 in the third set, served for it twice. And Ostapenko managed to somehow come back, steal her way, and grit her way to like a 7-6 in the third win. And like since then, she seems to have really had her number, because she also beat her in Adelaide in the semis before going on to win the title. So now she's even that head-to-head to 5-5, and
And it has to be said,
by the way, since you're talking about match points, I remember one match point now that she saved. It was against Kvitova on the way to the Dubai title.
Okay, so that
was the Kvitova match in the quarters. It was like the same tournament that she beat Iga before Iga went on the win streak. The 37 match win streak.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, well, obviously, interesting memories of that one. But that was a good run from Ostapenko there. In Dubai.
Maybe every time Iga loses to Yelena, she always goes on a streak, because after the U.S. Open as well.
Yeah,
I guess there was Tokyo after that as well, but like usually just short after that, she goes on a big streak.
So, I guess in that situation, because you're right about Ostapenko having Alexandrova, like what that final they played, Ostapenko looked in total control during that final. Alexandrova was clearly frustrated that she wasn't able to make a difference. Did make it a little closer in the second set, but Ostapenko felt kind of inevitable, and she had Alexandrova's number.
Yeah, she did. Alexandrova also, I should say, played a really good match against Donna Vekic in the semifinal, and I think that took away a lot of her legs actually, and also the precision on her first serve. So I expected it to be closer than 2 and 3. I certainly gave Ostapenko the edge coming in, because I just felt like she's playing the best tennis of anyone in the field, especially after that Tossin match. It just seemed like it was hers to lose. But Yeah, Alexandrova didn't really seem to have much spark, anything much left in the leg. She did give it a bit of a run in the second set, managed to hold on to her serve, like to stay in the match, and then also like at 4-1, it could have been 6-2, 6-1. So yeah, and then Ostapenko, like she made Ostapenko serve it out. Ostapenko actually got a little bit tense in the last game, down 15-30, but then yeah, actually found a couple of good serves. She's also been serving a lot better, Ostapenko. Like she had 10 aces against Pavlyuchenkova, which is a pretty big number because Pavlyuchenkova is an aggressive returner.
Yeah, because Ostapenko, for all her ground stroke power, traditionally has not had a great serve, which has always baffled me. So Ostapenko with a good serve,
especially the second serve. It's been a weakness for her, I would say, relative to the rest of her game, and yeah, especially and also the first serve. She doesn't always hit her spots, and sometimes it's tough for her to hold. Tough for her to really hold, even though you're right. Like you would think with her baseline power and the way she can just bully opponents from anything short or anything middle of the court off both wings. If she just had a big serve, oh my god! Now you're talking about like a Sabalenka type player.
He's almost unbeatable.
Yeah,
really. I mean, which Sabalenka kind of is.
Which is kind of my next thing is like we're seeing Ostapenko do this in 500 events, and we saw her make a couple of Slam quarterfinals last year and also Rome semifinal. But it's been a while since she's done this at a really big title, gone really far deep. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe this year we see her like get to a Masters final, get to a major semi.
Which she hasn't since 2018.
Yeah.
As you tweeted, I think.
Yep. It's been a while.
It has, which surprises me a little bit. Like, okay, we know she's streaky, but even Kvitova, who's also a streaky player, has got to Masters finals, not so much Slam semi-finals since 2019. No, 2020 French Open's her last one. But Ostapenko, yeah. Like looking good, and obviously, I think with her run, she's still number 11 in the world, but she's so close to the top 10 again. I mean, obviously, she got back into it briefly beginning of the year, but I'm starting to get the sense that maybe she might be able to get back and hold on to it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think so. I think she belongs in that range of like 8 through 15.
Yeah, I think that I agree with that. Definitely top 10 right now. Which, hey, if she's top 8, I think the top players probably wouldn't mind because at least they wouldn't have to deal with her until the quarters.
Yeah. This sort of reminds me of Bencic last year because I think Bencic also won like Abu Dhabi.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Belinda Bencic, yeah, she won Sydney and then won Abu Dhabi. So she did win effectively back-to-back 500 either side of the Australian Open.
Yeah. But then she wasn't really able to keep up that momentum because, I mean, she didn't play anything she missed the entire clay season.
And she got injured, didn't she?
Got injured, yeah. And then I thought she would be more of a factor last year and then maybe make a bid for the WTA finals, but...
And that's a kind of the cautionary tale that's making us kind of not necessarily go all in on Penko being the unbeatable player of 2024.
Yeah. It's going to be tough to see her like sustain it even, like I think her best ranking is like 5 in the world, but that was back in 2017 and that's because she won a slam. So that really helped her out. But yeah. I'd be surprised if she was top 5, let's say, by the end of the year.
I mean, I still rate her game. Like, if she could put together a decent run on grass, she should win Wimbledon.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, I still trust the other power players a bit more, like Raducanu and Sabalenka, and and also now Coco is like in that same tier as well, and I presume Iga will also get better. So she's got some tough competition, but she's playing some really good tennis.
Yeah, she is. Well, she's going. We've got to put her as one to watch in every draw.
Yeah.
She's got. She's obviously immediately flying to Abu Dhabi for the next 500.
Yeah.
We'll see how she deals with that.
She's playing Heather Watson actually in the first round, and Watson came through qualies.
I think we should talk about Abu Dhabi in a minute. I want to just sort of circle back. So yeah, I think Ostapenko is the story of the week. No question about it.
Yeah,
the other story is Clara Towson, I'd say. And we saw, you and I both saw the match. I only really saw the deciding set tiebreak because Sky was showing Montpellier instead. I think Rune was playing on that day, and I think that was the match he was struggling in early on. But I was watching that Ostapenko-Towson match, and I was a little bit surprised that match didn't get a little bit more of a buzz on social media.
It was pretty high quality. Like I looked at it at the end, and like over 50 winners, and like 40 plus for both players, and some nerves, of course, and some patchy quality here and there. But for the most part, they were really pushing each other. I thought the third set tiebreak was actually pretty high quality. I mean, both were hitting big, serving big, and forcing the other player into errors whenever possible. But like, yeah, I mean, Towson came so close, and it would have been fun to see like in an alternate universe. But what else she could have done in this tournament? Because she's beaten a lot of she's beaten players like Alexandrova and like in 2021 she beat a lot of good players. Collins she pushed at the Australian Open, and so she's beaten, even last year she beat like Fernandez and Roland Garros. But like, yeah, I just want to see like more sustained runs from Towson. Hopefully she can stay healthy, because she's another one of these players like in that. I forgot, like she's so young. She's like even younger than Emma Raducanu.
Yes, not by much, I don't think.
Yeah, by like a month.
Like a month. They're about the same age. So, and I do think it's really, really unfortunate that we don't talk about Towson in the same terms as Raducanu, Fernandez, Jung, Sung, her age. But we don't really talk about her in the same way, and I think it's because she hasn't had the results because of the injuries.
Because of
but it's at the big events. Because if you were watching her 250s, 500s, she's really scary. And against top opposition. So I really, really want her to show like that she belongs in that camp.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'll get a result that puts her in that camp, I should say, because I think she's got the talent for it.
Yeah, especially indoors, she seems to play some really good tennis, even on the clay as well. I remember she beat Jennifer Brady in the 2020 French Open.
Yeah, although
that's when I first heard of her.
Yeah, that's I think I remember that. It's like, oh, okay, who's that? Although having said that, Brady had just come off the US Open, which had only been like a couple of weeks before, and I'm not sure clay is Brady's favorite surface.
Yeah, probably, but I like the way she hits her forehand and her kick serve, and it definitely lends itself to some success. Brady is obviously another could, because also she's also had her own injury issues and is going to be out for a long time. But yeah, I remember looking at that being like, this may be a promising young talent in the future. But yeah.
So well, Towson's going to be playing in Cluj this week.
Okay.
Which I think could be a big opportunity for her, as you say. It's indoors. She likes it. The field is pretty open. Opportunity there for her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, who are the top seeds? Is it like Arantxa Rus, I think, is number one?
Arantxa Rus is number one seed. And then Tatia Marina is seeded 2. Anna Blinkova is seeded 3. Burrell's withdrawn. You've got Avanesian in there. I'm just having like Alicia Parks is playing. She's dangerous indoors. Anastasia Sevastova's back, which surprised me.
Yeah,
but she's playing. Karolina Pliskova has entered. She's got in. She's not seeded, but she's entered, which looks really weird that Karolina Pliskova is not seeded as a WTA 250.
That is really weird, actually. Wow.
That's I thought I was just having a look at seeing who else is in there. There's like not a lot of other names. Camila Osorio's playing. It's a very, very open draw. I mean, Towson's got Nadia Podoroska in round 1.
Yeah, that's pretty winnable.
Winnable match indoors.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Romanian players who should be good. Oh, Cornet's qualified. She's in there. Harriet Dart. Yeah, it's a very open draw, I think, for Cluj.
Yeah. This tournament is normally played in October, right?
Yes, they've moved it, which obviously has moved their key marketing thing of being in Transylvania around Halloween.
Yeah.
But clearly, they obviously either got told to move, or maybe they felt it was going to be better for them to move for another reason.
At least we're seeing more indoor events on the WTA, which is good.
Yeah, considering it's kind of dying off. I mean, not even the WTA finals are indoors anymore. I don't think have been really, other than Fort Worth.
Right. Yeah, they've mostly been outdoors the last 3-4 years.
Okay, so yeah, that's Cluj. We've done a little bit about Towson and Cluj. So I think, look, Cluj is just wide open. Anyone can win it. I'm favouring Towson. Yeah, did you know Sevastova was coming back? Sevastova?
I remember hearing some announcement or thing about it, but I haven't really seen her play since.
She says she's got a protected ranking. I thought she'd retired.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if she actually officially announced retirement, or she had an injury and was out for a long time.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought she'd retired because it's been a while since she's played. Well,
Yeah.
from one 250 that's yet to happen to a 250 that hasn't happened yet, well, that has just happened, and we have a first WTA career title for Diana Shnaider, who obviously burst onto the scene last year at the Australian Open, I think, when she took out Sakkari, and has
almost pushed Sakkari.
She pushed Sakkari. She's still 19. She's had a couple of other results that's, impressed people, but yeah, giving up an opportunity to go to college seems to be paying off. She's now a champion on the WTA tour and beat Su Lin pretty well, actually. I mean, Su Lin went on a really, like, for 4 games in the second set. That's how she won it. But yeah, the rest of the time, I don't think she could really live with Schneider's flat hitting. But looking at sort of the footage, the crowd were absolutely loving it. Like, even though it was very lopsided score lines, there were some of the rallies that just had the crowd absolutely loving it.
Yeah, for sure. Shnaider deserved to win this week because she beat all the top 3 seeds. She also beat Wang in the Jinyu Wang, the one who is right-handed. She beat her in the semis, and then she also beat Magdalena in the first round. So, who was the top seed? So yeah, I mean, Shnaider has been knocking on the door, I guess, of an ATP title because she also made the final in Ningbo last year, and then lost to Jabeur. So that was kind of one where I was like, maybe she plays really well in Asia, and I guess she just likes the conditions here, which are better for just her forehand, especially is so flat, and it really is like it really did a lot of damage this week. Like a lot of winners, a lot of like inside out forehands, like sometimes even set up by her serve. I feel like her serve improved since I last saw her in Ningbo and other events last year. So that's good because I always felt like the serve could get a bit beefier, but seems like it is now. The backhand is also like pretty flat. She's got a really good amount of power in her game. So I could see her like doing some bigger things after this.
Isn't hitting flat as often as she does super high risk though?
It is, yeah. But I felt like this week she that's why she was losing sets. Like against Lynette, she lost the second set 6-1 and just made a ton of errors. And then against Wang, it kind of got complicated for her in the second set. And then against Lin Zhu, there was that streak of 4 games that Zhu went on, and I was really impressed by the third set that she played because I felt like she just raced off to a really fast start, and then just like never let go of all the momentum. And yeah, like against the more consistent top players who are going to force her to play a lot of balls and get balls back really deep or absorb that heavy power that she has, it could be tough for her. But especially at the 250 level, like, I feel like she belongs here, like for a good amount of time.
Are we basically saying she's a lefty Ostapenko?
Yeah. Although she's not capable of doing this off the return. Like Ostapenko can just like crush second serve returns. I haven't seen Shnaider do that quite as much, especially off of both wings. But like when she has time and when she's like constructing points, then she can like really pull the trigger, and yeah, we have opponents running all over the place.
Very, very dangerous. I mean, again, I've mentioned Wimbledon already once this podcast, but grass, Shnaider on grass, with those flat strokes, that's a very deadly combination.
Yeah, it could be. I have to
She
see
moves on
like
it.
also how she comes forward, and she probably have to get a little bit better at the serve. But actually, last year, like on clay, she seemed to have some decent results. I guess in Charleston, I guess she took out some top players, and then she almost beat Haddad Maya in the French Open, which was a real surprise because obviously Haddad Maya went on to make the semis, and you know, but yeah, like she's actually I think I looked this up. She played junior doubles and she won 3 of the 4 slams in doubles, and she got to the finals of Roland Garros as well. So she almost pulled off
Interesting.
the junior like career slam, which I didn't
Yeah.
realize she was that prodigious of a junior. She got to like 3 in the world
As it's singles or doubles?
in doubles.
In doubles,
In
yeah.
singles as well, she got to number 3.
Bit of a Taylor Townsend then, actually.
Yeah,
Townsend came pretty close in the doubles as well in juniors. Also lefty. Doesn't hit with power in the same way. She's, she's got a
she's like
bit
the
more
baseline version of of
Taylor Townsend.
Taylor Townsend, because Townsend obviously has that incredible like servant volley ability and like just closes off angles at the net that are just make you go wow.
So Diana Shnaider, definitely named to keep an eye on for the rest of the year. Well deserved WTA champion. She's going to absolutely love it. I think she's definitely going to treasure that trophy. I guess before we talk about like what's coming up next, because like we've talked a little bit about Cluj, but let's face it, everybody's eyes are going to be on Abu Dhabi. But another tournament that everyone's going to have eyes on is actually on the ATP tour, which is the Dallas Open. Which we're going to have boots on the ground there, and we're going to have people there, and I can see John in chat's been promoting it. So if he wants to, if you go and check it out. If you want to show it on here, John, just let me know, and I'll stop talking. But I just wanted to say, we will be bringing you. We're Talking Tennis is back on the road, and we're good. Okay, so we're not going to show it, but go and check it out. It's the last video uploaded. So go watch it after we finish this. But we're back on the road as Talking Tennis with the team going to all the US hardcourt events. So we've got you covered for the US season.
Yeah, it should be fun to see what Miles does on the grounds.
And first time he's done this as well. So I'm anxious to see what kind of questions he comes up with. Fakia, I have seen your comment. Would love to talk about Iga, but I think everyone else is probably sick of me talking about Iga. But I will be talking about her plenty next week when we preview Doha, because I think that's where it's going to be relevant, because Iga's not playing in Abu Dhabi. Interestingly, the top seed in Abu Dhabi is Elena Rybakina. And she's the only one of like the sort of the top 5 who's playing. Really, I was going to say top 4, but she's not ranked top 4 anymore. Even though maybe virtually still top 4. But we're back to stacked WTA 500s.
Yeah, pretty much. That's an awesome thing about the WTA. There's so many 500s. Pretty much every single week up until like after Charleston is like a 500 every week or above, or like Indian Wells, Miami. But like, that's going to be so good. I mean, I looked at this draw and it's pretty stacked from like 8 through 15, because it's like the 8th seed is like Samsonova, who's like 15 in the world. So it's pretty stacked. Like obviously Kenin lost in qualies, and like that's how it kind of is. Like Jabeur is your 2nd seed and she's 6th in the world, and then you have like Maria Sakkari who's number 9 in the world, and then like 11 through 15 is like all those really seeded, all those really good like seeded players, like from Krejcikova all the way till Samsonova. So it should be pretty good, and we right away have like popcorn matches to talk about, because Danielle Collins qualified and she takes on Osaka.
So. I genuinely can't call which way that one's going to go.
Yeah, you really can't. I mean, I thought Osaka was going to win at the US Open when they played each other 2 years ago, and it was actually Collins who beat her for the first time. And that's really like, since then we didn't really see Osaka back for like a year and a half, and then she now coming off of That's like three really tough draws in a row for Naomi now since her comeback. Because obviously she had the Pliskova match where she played pretty well and lost, and then Garcia, kind of same thing at the Australian Open, and now against Collins. So that is definitely one to watch. Could go either way. And
Yeah,
then
really
getting
good.
to play Raducanu is crazy as well. Yeah.
I mean, that one's going to be good, whichever one it is. I have, because I didn't realize Collins was in the qualifying draw, which is mental. I mean, like, there's a lot of really good players in that qualifying draw.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like that qualifying draw was crazy good. But I'm looking forward to sort of seeing big hitting from those two. And then Raducanu. I think Raducanu should be the favorite against either of them, but I think they'll both give her a good fight.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, Raducanu will be looking for a bounce back after that. Really memorable, like third set tiebreak against Pliskova in the second round. She probably, is itching to get back out there, especially after Sabalenka won the title.
I'm looking at this going, actually, this like first round match is really good. You've got Wang Jinyu, the righty, who has obviously got a lot of potential against Su Lin, both coming off good runs in Hua Hin. Heather Watson against Jelena Ostapenko, probably more interesting from a British perspective. Veronika Kudermetova against Linda Noskova, who also qualified.
Yeah.
Wow. That's going to be good.
Exactly, yeah. And then also Emma Raducanu, right? Emma Raducanu taking on Marie Boskova, and the winner of that to play Jabeur.
Yes. Big opportunity given the form Jabeur's in. 0-1 for the year. No, 1-1 for the year. She did win her first round match. Right. But Bushkova Raducanu. I was talking to a little bit with someone. I can't remember who. I talked to someone about. Yeah, that was right. It was I remember who it was now. I was speaking to online about this match, and they were talking about, oh great, Emma's had a tough draw. She could be playing Jabeur. But yes, that is a tough match for Emma if Jabeur's feeling good. But I think Bushkova is going to be a tough match regardless. They're both pretty good counterpunchers.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Emma to hit through Bushkova. I don't think they've ever played each other before. I think this would be their first meeting. So Bushkova is always tricky.
Yeah. Emma's not played most people on tour, I don't think. Emma. So I think that's going to be. I think that one's going 3 sets. I think that's going to be an absolute war, that match, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd probably give a slight. I think Bushkova is a slight favorite, but honestly, Emma could win. It's be up in the air.
I could go either way, and then Jabeur is that match is going to. Whoever wins that match against Jabeur is going to really depend on how Ons is feeling.
Yeah. Also, if you're a really big fan of old school type tennis, then you have Diane Perry and Daria Kasatkina, and you love your variety. There you go.
I'm circling that match. Single-handed backhand, super brilliant sort of defensive player with a lot of variety, but both of them with a lot of variety. Yes, please. Kasatkina and Parry, definitely. Kalinina and Badosa. Okay, Kalinina's not in great form.
Yeah, Badosa, it'll be interesting to see how she pulls up after last week because she injured her back again, which is not a good sign.
That's one of those matches where on paper, that's good because you've got a 1,000 champion playing a 1,000 finalist.
Yeah.
But neither of them in great form, so it could go either way.
Yeah, also Samsonova probably has to have a good week this week as well because she made the final last year.
Yes.
Lost to Bencic and had match points. Yeah, she has not had a good start to the year, Samsonova. So she really needs a good week.
I mean, she's got Serenko in round 1. Serenko, when she's determined, is tough.
Yeah.
But I'd also think that if Samsonova is, hot, maybe 70%, it's a winnable match.
Yeah, same. That's on her record, basically.
Mm.
She's got to play well for.
You've then got 2 big hitting Americans, Perra and Kruger.
Yeah. Yeah, Kruger has some decent potential. She's also won a title already. Mm-hmm. And then also Garcia and Kirstea.
Yes.
I remember Kirstea beat Garcia in both Indian Wells in Miami last year, so that is
they're
It'll be
both
an interesting one.
top tier players. Obviously, Garcia, WTA Finals champion. Castere has made a 1,000 final in her career. Winner plays Sakari.
Yeah, the Sakari section is not looking great actually for her. That's probably the one that's gonna fall apart a little bit, if I were to
I can
guess.
see that happening, yeah. And then you've got Beatrice Haddam against Wang Zhu, Battle of the Lefties. And then obviously Magdala Net's back, but it could be a big opportunity for 18-year-old Alexandra Ayala from the Philippines.
Oh yeah, I remember John talking about her when he went to Tunisia.
Yeah, she's someone who's being talked about a little bit. I know John's mentioned her before, and 18 years old, wild card. Let's see what
I've never seen her play, so maybe I'll see her for the first time this week.
Did John even see her play when he went to Tunisia?
I doubt it, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think with the form Lynette is in, that could be a winnable match for the 18-year-old.
Yeah, definitely.
So, every single first round match is interesting, which will lead into second round matches that will be interesting. Heather Watson coming through qualifying, did not see that coming. I mean, I know I'm a Brit and I should be patriotic and optimistic, but she beat Sophia Kenin in 3 sets in the opening round, and then Masarova in her second qualifying match. But it's the Kenin win that stands out to me.
Yeah, that really stands out. Like especially the last 2 sets, 6-1, 6-1. Wow. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm reminded oftentimes of what Watson is capable of, like from the 2015 Wimbledon when she played Serena, and that's like kind of the moment everyone remembers. But
yeah, that's the moment she's going to be remembered for. I think not the multiple WTA titles.
No,
it is going to be.
She must be like early 30s right now. So
yes, she's 32 now.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, maybe she does something really big this week. Then we'll see. I always thought she had big game, but never really put it together.
Yeah, because she's a US Open junior champion. Yeah. And like when she was a teenager, she was one of the highest ranked teenagers out there. Well, no, younger players out there. Like I think she was 2012. She was one of the top 10 under 21 players, and actually was ranked ahead of Laura Robson, who I think other people probably thought had the higher ceiling, but we never got to see it. Well, we kind of saw it with Robson, but Heather, I've always thought maybe underperformed a little bit, but
I think so.
Who knows? But yeah, she has the game the game in that match with Serena was probably the best match of the women's tournament in 2015.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I remember watching it, and yeah, I don't know how far Heather would have gone in that tournament, but
could be a good opportunity for her against Ostapenko, just because Ostapenko is like coming back after winning the title. Like I could see a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, if Ostapenko, I mean, like I'm assuming Ostapenko is going to play, but if she doesn't, that does open up a lucky loser spot. Which I would imagine would go to Sara Sorribes Tormo, the highest ranked qualifier who lost.
Oh wow, yeah, there are some good players who lost in the qualies. Like Dolehide lost. Who else? Yeah, Kerber obviously the big shock.
Yeah, well, that's obviously first round, isn't it? But yeah, you're right. I wasn't looking at first round. Because you're right. And then Saville also lost. Putintseva.
I tell you what match I really want to see if Noshkova beats Kudermetova. It would be fun to see her play Krejcikova.
Yes. Yeah. I think Krejcikova is the one to watch this tournament. I actually think when I did my bracket, and I was like, when I tend to do brackets for 500 and 250s, it's fairly like a little bit of guesswork based on form and sort of whether I think anyone's going to be burned out or whatever. But like it's not like a slam which has a little bit more of a predictable pattern. But Krejcikova, I think after her Aussie Open run, I'm willing to predict her to win this title. That's what came out when I did the bracket.
It could happen. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's Kritikova. The thing about her is like she's all about like timing and redirecting shots, and like when it's working, it's really really good. But other times she can just be really off and just spray a lot of shots and not really have the control.
I
Or
definitely
she's playing someone like Sabalenka, where she was not really able to
Yeah.
like absorb that pace. But I guess that's peak Sabalenka.
I guess if you look at her section, right?
Yeah.
Like talking about you saying, like if her timing's on, she should be able to deal with Kudermetova or Noskova. It's upset alert if she's not on. But if she is on, I relatively confident she could get through them. And
She
then
could get to the semis.
semi-final,
And
yeah,
then-
she's favourite in her quarterfinal then, and then semis, and then it just depends on what kind of mood Raducanu's in.
Yeah, Raducanu or I mean, I'd be surprised if like Collins went on a run just because. Honestly, any of Raducanu, Collins, or Osaka against like would be a favorite in the quarterfinal. So you have one of them playing Krejcikova in the semis.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ostapenko just by her. I don't want to predict her going deep in a consecutive tournament.
Yeah,
That I've never seen her do that. But she could. I mean, she's got a decent-ish draw. Like Heather Watson, like that match could go either way, but like she should be the favorite in that one. She should be favorite in second round. It's in that nightmare matchup with Raducanu in the quarters that could be the problem for Yelena.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other question mark obviously is how does Jabeur look? Also, like, now that she's back in the Middle East, I'm sure these tournaments are like she's gonna want to really try to peak here for the 1000s and the 500.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure she is, and be a contender. Speaking of the 1000s, have you? What are your thoughts on Sabalenka pulling out of Doha? I think the first one.
Yeah, I think she did this last year after winning AO, so I wasn't too surprised. It does maybe perhaps put a little bit of pressure on her, like later in the year or points race wise, if Iga does go on a run, and then it's like pretty close between them. But honestly, like she just wants to take the time probably to not overwhelm her schedule and just celebrate a little bit more after winning AO or getting ready for Dubai, because it's still a long stretch with Indian Wells in Miami, and maybe it's not such a bad idea to pull out of one of them.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to put a comment on that, but yeah, I agree. I don't think it's the end of the world. So, all right. Well, I think we've kind of covered all the big WTA stories, unless there's anything you think we've missed, Vunch, either looking ahead or looking back.
Should be back for San Diego. Oh, who's going to be back for San Diego? I missed that.
Pegula, I would.
Pegula. Oh yeah. Pegula is coming for San Diego, so she'd be the number 1 seed so far, unless more people in the entry list are there. And I think Mukova is coming back there as well. So
is it Mukova? I thought she was coming back in the Middle East.
Oh, is she? I mean, I saw her in the San Diego entry list, so I know she's coming to San Diego.
I'm sure she put an Instagram story saying she was aiming for maybe Doha. But I need to maybe hang on. Maybe let's actually look at the entry list.
The sooner the better, because tennis has really missed Mukova.
Yes.
Since the US Open. She is a big value add.
Yeah, she's on the entry list for Doha.
Oh, cool.
As the 8th seed, because obviously Sabalenka
and the Doha entry list. Right, I just saw that as well. So yeah, that's good. Gosh,
I've just looked at the top 8 seeds for Doha, and it's Swiatek, Goff, Raducanu, Jabeur is number 4, Sung Chun-Wen is 5, Vondrousova 6, Sakkari 7, Mukova 8.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's pretty stacked. I mean
obviously it's 1,000. It would be, but I meant sort of. Oh, right. These new rankings have already, being influencing the seedings. But yeah, it's really cool. Okay, we're in for a really exciting week. I am really sad I won't be able to watch all of the tennis in Abu Dhabi, but I will watch as much as I possibly can. I would guess that you're probably in a similar boat there, Vanch.
Yeah, I think it's like all happening overnight for me. So, but like you wake up in the morning, you can catch up on stuff, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some good highlights as well. You can watch the replays. So yeah, it's gonna be good, especially right away with the popcorn matches early. There's no like working your way into these tournaments. Just boom, starts with the matches that are worthy of second week of majors.
I'm definitely going to be checking out everything and seeing what I can see. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you coming on, Vanch, and appreciate all of you watching as well. I've been seeing lots of brilliant activity in the live chat for this episode. Lots of great questions and chat we didn't quite get to. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. We do have ATP Weekly that will be starting in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So tune back in for that, where we'll be talking all about Montpellier and the Davis Cup. Oh no, I've got that wrong. Apparently it's not today. So it's tomorrow. There we go. So ATP Weekly tomorrow. Tune back in tomorrow for ATP Weekly. Same topics apply. It's not my show. I don't need to know what time it is on. But thanks for coming on, Vanch. Thanks everyone for coming and joining. We will be back next week at some point, Sunday or Monday. Just keep tuning for the schedule and keep an eye on all of our updates from the Dallas Open, as well as any other live streams we do this week. And yes, absolutely, please, if you are watching us back, not live, let us know your thoughts. If you are listening to our podcast, let us know, leave us a like, comment, and rating. Thanks everyone for joining. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, take care and keep talking tennis.
Yep. Cheers.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.